Yes, everyone, you know what time it is. It's your boys Jack and Dave here giving our reaction to all of the different predictions ahead of this Bournemouth game. We've asked a bunch of the different Spurs creators around this lovely community to send in their predictions, and they have done. And we're going to see what they have to say after that defeat to Brighton, see if things maybe have changed, maybe moods have changed. But looking forward to it, see what predictions we have in front of us. If you can for us, smash that like button, get your comments in down below. And of course, check out all of their channels in the description and in the comments section. But Dave, thoughts ahead of this Bournemouth game and maybe any crazy predictions we might see.
Look, Bournemouth are in red hot form at the minute. I believe, if not the most informed team in the Premier League right now. So, it's up to us to be able to take them off their knock them off their stride, Jack. And look, at the end of the day, it'd be nice to top off the new year with a cherry on top, right? And that comes in the way of Bournemouth. So hopefully, we can get the job done.
Let's do that. And everybody, let's start off with the Profitron and see if he can get us started off with his prediction and see where we go from there. See if he sets us up with a big score line, or maybe he might be a little conservative this time. We'll see how it goes.
Johnson's number one fan.
Johnson's number one fan, indeed. Let's see what the Tron has to say.
Hi, this is Dermot, aka Dermatron from thfc Till I Die, with my pre-game thoughts for Tottenham versus Bournemouth on Sunday, New Year's Eve. Look, firstly, last night's performance was not acceptable. It was absolutely diabolical. From start to finish, the players did not give an ounce of anything. I can understand Ange saying his players give him anything, but they didn't give us anything at all. Everyone played badly from the defence up to the strikers. The other one to hold his head with any credit is actually Vicario, to be fair. A couple of saves from him kept it down. And why they thought after 80 minutes, or let's start playing now, is beyond me. It really was. Happy for Velez to get his goal. Ben Davies gets no credit from me at all. And Dave, this is not me flip-flopping. This is me. He played absolutely awful. Look, it's not a lot we can do with Bournemouth coming up. We're still stuck with the same players. We're still stuck with the same players out injured. So, look, we should win. We've got home advantage. But I'm not really overly optimistic of us getting the decent result. But January's now become so important. But look, always the optimist, always the Tottenham fan. I think we're going to win 2-1. But yeah, that's my pre-game thoughts. Not really the usual positive thoughts, but look, that's the way it is. Come on, you Spurs.
It's sad to see Dermatron in that sort of way, isn't it? I mean, normally he's the most confident man, the most optimistic of a big score line, and looks like he's still pretty beat up after that Brighton defeat.
Yeah, he's still in mourning, Jack. Look, I do get it, right? You know, you feel let down when the players don't give you a performance, and it was that case. He's battered and bruised, but look, you know, there's a good opportunity to turn it around. I know he sort of is a bit deflated, thinking maybe we can't change things, but in retrospect, we actually can.
So important.
Add Kulusevski to that list,
always
by the
the
way. He's
optimist,
out through
always the
suspension,
Tottenham
picked
fan.
up
I
a
think
yellow
we're going to
versus
win
Brighton.
2-1.
But we can change things.
But yeah, that's
you know,
my
you can
pre-game
change the
thoughts.
centre
Not
backs.
really
You can be brave
the
if you
usual
want to. You can bring in a natural
positive thoughts, but
you
look,
don't have
that's
to
the way
play
it
with
is. Come on, you
four
Spurs.
fullbacks across the back line. You know, you do have to change that. That back line, I think, have played together now 3 times and they've conceded 9 goals. So that's 3 a game. That's not sustainable. And the only way of changing it is personnel. Whether people like it or not, give Darrington or Phillips a go. They're natural.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to just see just sort of more inclusion of maybe some players that we haven't seen yet this season, which could be a Phillips or a Dorrington, because I don't know, I just don't feel like that sort of experiment with Ben Davies and Emerson can really last that long. I think it can, maybe you can get away with it for a game or two or something like that, but it's not really something that's really all that sustainable. I think for a long period of time, you might as well eventually just sort of give one of these guys a chance, and we'll see which one Ange prefers, or maybe he might just stick with the same one. But hopefully the Tron, you know, maybe by game day starts to feel a little bit more optimistic by
I
then.
hope so.
I hope so,
Supposed to be on
indeed.
the build-up.
Supposed to be feeling more confident, indeed. But we'll see how the Sunny Talk Spurs compares. Maybe he's got
Nice
a
job.
big score line ahead of us, or maybe he feels a bit similar to the Tron. And I also love that Simpsons sweater. Very, very cool.
Dave and Jack, Sonny here from Sunny Talk Spurs, and you want my prediction ahead of the game against Bournemouth. And after the Brighton result, I'm even more worried about this one. Bournemouth are playing some absolutely beautiful football. I'd love us to sign Dominic Solanke as our new striker, But yeah, concerned about this. Glad we'll be back at home, but after the Brighton result, who knows what could happen? No Kulusevski, he's banned.
Yeah.
Just such a lacking squad at the moment. No centre backs. Maybe we should go for the youth over Emerson and Davis now. But I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I don't think we'll have enough to beat Bournemouth, and I think they'll play some really good football and get a result.
That's hard to hear as well. We're yet to hear, a very optimistic prediction yet from somebody. But, I mean, it is a huge loss having Kulusevski out. Bournemouth are, in fact, probably one of the most informed teams in the Premier League. They're flying high with confidence. It's almost like they're playing so well right now that it is almost like free hits, basically, for them. I think, especially a team like us, I think is basically a bit of a free hit for them while they're kind of in this flying bit of form. So they're probably going into it really with no worries or no sort of stress or pressure really on them, kind of maybe more pressure kind of on our side to sort of bounce back and get, something out of this game, because we did have an embarrassing defeat the last time where Bournemouth, I would say, in a very different position, and they might go into this more confident than I would like them to.
Well, look, we also bet them, or they bet us at our place last season, if anyone remembers.
Yeah.
I know we bet them earlier on in the season, but the two goal scorers, Kulusevski and Maddison, are both out. So someone else is going to have to step up to the plate this time round. It's not going to be an easy game. It's going to be a tough test. They'll probably do exactly what Brighton done to us, relentlessly press us and try and force us into mistakes. It's now about players being a bit braver on the ball. But look, what I will say is I think we very easily forget that we did win 3 on the spin before this, so we are capable of a bounce back, an immediate reaction, and let's see what happens. He did mention Dominic Solanke. I'm surprised you didn't bring it up, Jack. Maybe you and him are having a Solanke love affair, but look, I'll be keeping a close eye on him tomorrow. Hopefully he doesn't score, and I'll let you know my verdict. As you know, I'm the man of strikers.
As always, we go a little bit early on these sort of predictions and trends, and I was pretty early on sort of the hype around Solanke, and now I've almost gotten a little bit bored, because now everybody's all of a sudden, to Mr. Solanke. Now I feel like moving on to somebody else. Maybe I'll go back to my one and only true love, one of my first loves, Chris Wood, maybe. But no, in all seriousness, I think Solanke's had a terrific season. He's also been, I think, if I remember correctly, I think he scored against us in both fixtures last season as well. I think he scored against us at home, and then he also scored against us, when they were at their own place at the Vitality Stadium as well. So I don't know, I wouldn't say he's one of those Spurs killers, but that also slightly worries me that he has had a pretty decent record against Spurs in the past, with some other players too that just seem to play well against us. But we'll find out come this home fixture. And I do think, going back to Dermatron's prediction, that maybe a bit of home advantage could actually really help us out in this one in terms of carrying us through the result. But big up to Sonny Talk Spurs. Good to see him. Hopefully he had a wonderful New Year and a happy Christmas as well. And we're heading on over to the other prophet man, the other sort of prediction man, Marlon Green. See what he has to say out of this game.
I told him to predict the win.
What's happening, people? It's Marlon from thfc COYS TV. Jack, Dave, it's that time of the week again. I can't believe you got me doing this, but it's prediction time. Make sure you subscribe to the Irish Hotspur. These two are brilliant. And make sure you come over to thfc COYS to see Ashmatic and Has and I do our thing. But let's get into this prediction. Well, not a great result against Brighton. I did see it coming, right? I know we didn't do a prediction for Brighton, but I did see it coming. I just didn't expect it to be as bad as that, as it was.
Yeah.
With Kulu suspended, I'm a bit worried about Bournemouth. I think it's going to be a very open game. The one thing that really concerns me right now is I don't know where we're going to get our goals from, and I think we're going to have to rely a lot on set pieces. So I'm looking at Porro here. I'm looking at Porro with his final deliveries, but yeah, who's going to be playing centre-back? Do we go over Real again? Udogi's not been great since he's come back either. If anything, Vicario has been keeping us in games. So what's my prediction? I am going for a draw, I think. I'll be glad to get this one wrong, but I'm going for a draw, and I'm going for a 2-2. I think Bournemouth are on form, and I think we are, at the moment, not at our best. But it's expected, Forget injuries and everything like that. Everything's just going wrong at the wrong time. And I'm a bit concerned when Ange said the other day that we weren't fit enough to play this system. Now that's concerning considering we're on 1 game a week. So what happens if we get into Europe next year? But yeah, just need to get to February like I said before. But yeah, I'm going 2-2 unfortunately. I think Solanke will carry on his goal scoring form. And I think Kluivert might get one. For us, I have no clue. It'll be somebody. I won't be surprised if we get a penalty. And I'm going to back Porro to score because he's probably the only threat at the moment, as you saw last night as well. If Son's available, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Really, really interesting. Who's going to play in midfield as well? Yeah. Good luck, Ange. I'm glad it's you and not me. But boys, big up. Thank you.
Nice one, Marlon, and always, very insightful, always very detailed, his predictions. One thing I might actually disagree with him on, though, Dave, is I feel like we don't really exactly, again, like, just something you and I feel like, I don't think we have actually all that much of a problem with creating chances or creating goal-scoring opportunities. I think even the last game, despite us conceding 4 goals, I still feel like we could have scored almost 4 goals like in that game, to be perfectly honest. Not saying we would have won the game or anything like that, but so many chances to get back into the game and get a goal back to maybe, cause Brighton some more worries and some more trouble. And we just didn't. Like, these were kind of simple chances, I think, in some cases as well, especially over in Brennan Johnson's case. So I don't know, Marlon. I actually say, once again, Spurs do not struggle to score. I think Spurs have never had that problem really at all this season. I think it's just more, we do have a bit more sort of kind of reluctance to just fire at will and just take the chances that we have in front of us. But these are easy chances that professional Premier League players at a top level, I think, should be burying more often than they actually are. So it's really just on them, I think, to do that. But it's not like we aren't creating chances, I think, to be perfectly honest, Dave. I think we are creating a lot of chances.
Look, Jack, I'm glad you said it because it was actually the one thing I was going to completely disagree with as well in terms of creating chances. You look at the amount of blocks that Brighton made in that game, in and around their penalty area, closing down our shots. We didn't do that up the other end. That's one of the differences. Also, Richarlison, 2 offside goals disallowed, hit the post once, a couple of little other opportunities in there. The opportunities presented themselves. We just didn't take enough of them. So I do disagree with that. Look, the biggest secret is in the room that, yet again, nobody wants to talk about, and I'm not having a go at Marlon here, or something that we failed to do in the summer is coming back to haunt us. Not improving that defence line enough. Not going gung-ho enough.
Yes.
Whether people like Ben Davies or not, the amount of goals that since he's come in because of the injuries that we've conceded, it's doubled than what we did in the first game. So, look, we know the areas that need to be improved. Scoring goals ain't a problem, but it becomes a problem when you're looking at your team to score 4 or 5 goals just to go and win a game of football. Because with that back line, we're conceding an average 3 goals a game, which means we then have to go and score 4 to win a game.
Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Marlon, great prediction, man, but I think Dave and I are going to have to disagree with you on that one, sir. I think it's more a worry of how many do we end up conceding, not as about, how do we end up scoring. I think we'll absolutely score at least, I think maybe this is a big prediction, but I think we have no problem scoring 2 goals a game, to be perfectly honest. We scored plenty enough chances to probably guarantee that we could get around 2 goals a game. It's just more how many can we keep out, and with a team like Bournemouth flying in form right now, you do probably expect them to score against guys like Ben Davies, etc. So we'll just see how we can keep them out of our net, but I don't think we'll have a problem scoring against them. Even too, I think their defense is not exactly as great as it maybe looks. I think they do have some shaky players back there, and also some pretty inexperienced Premier League players as well. So I think we'll have no problem scoring. It's just, how do we keep the goals out of our net, I think will be the issue. But let's head on over to Lee the Dorset Spurs, see what this man has to say. And maybe he'll give us a big prediction of some kind. But so far, not so many confident Spurs fans.
I don't blame them.
Hey everyone, Lee the Dorset Spur back with another match prediction. It's not getting any easier, is it, being able to predict what's going to happen with Tottenham these days after this recent run of results. It's getting harder and harder. So I'm just going to say how I think it's going to end up. And that is that I think we're going to end up with a 3-1 win.
Come on.
Where's that coming from, Lee? Who knows?
Get in there.
Blind support maybe. Some people say I'm mental. But listen, I believe in this manager. I think he's taken us places. And whatever the result, I'm going to keep on believing in Ange and see it through to the end of the season, and I'll judge where we are at that point. But I've got a sneaking feeling about this one. I don't know why. I might be mad. Up the Spurs.
No problem with being mad, Lee, and that's what Dave are looking for. We're looking for blind support. We're looking for blind faith, and a 3-1. Listen, I'm going to put myself in Lee's boat here. If Spurs do sort of channel that sort of, what's it called, bounce back, I think, or kind of revenge, kind of God, there's a term for it that we have over here in America for it. But yeah, it's like sort of the revenge kind of fixture where like we've had games against Bournemouth in the past where, they've actually embarrassed us, especially last season. They embarrassed us in our own stadium. Also off this recent game against Brighton, teams do end up sort of having to respond. Like, it's the whole like we need to see a reaction, type of performance. And I just am putting my money, I guess, on sort of Spurs having that type of reaction. Like I do think we have a pretty cohesive, kind of unit of players that believe in each other, that do, sort of hold each other accountable, even though that was a really bad performance against Brighton. I don't think we have a fractured dressing room or anything like that. I do think the majority of these players do believe in Ange and do believe in each other. So that gives me confidence that despite, all the missing players and all the missing weapons that we do have, there will be a bit of a, a reaction or some sort of revenge. I forget the term I'm looking for, Dave, but I think you know what I mean.
No, look, 100%. I get what you mean, Jacko. And that's exactly what I think most of us are expecting, especially at home. One thing they won't be allowed to do is put in a performance like they did against Brighton at home,
Exactly,
without the fans getting on the back. Despite how fantastic they've been, them level of performances are not good enough. So I definitely want to see the bounce back. I definitely want to see reaction. But look, I also hope that Ange Postecoglou changes it up, and for me, that's the only way he'll get reaction. Bring one of the natural centre backs in to play alongside an Emerson or a Davies. You don't have to play two of them, but give them one.
Yes.
See, through all these injuries and suspensions, you can look at it two ways, right? You can sit there and you can bemoan your luck, or you can look at it as opportunities to really test out some players that are coming through the ranks, to give them an opportunity. For instance, why not put Lo Celso in the deeper role to get the ball off the defenders and progress the ball, and put Donnelly in a natural position where he's been playing for the under-21s all season long, and give him an opportunity to see if he can bring a bit of spark and creativity. But look, I really do hope Ange Postecoglou, rather than persisting with the same team, because we have, more or less, and we've lost 5 of the last 9 games, despite being unbeaten for the first 10. So something has to give. You can't just keep persisting. At some point, you have to change the personnel. Whether they're older and experienced, it does not matter. If they're not doing the job, you've got to change it up. And I'm hazarding a guess with some of Ange Postecoglou's sort of words after the game against Brighton. I think you might just see something,
Completely.
But Lee's obviously had a cherry bake well before he gave us the prediction, and that's why he's gone for the big win. Big up, Lee.
And that's what Dave and I encourage. We encourage, a bit of a mental prediction. We don't, as much as we love when people are accurate with theirs, sometimes it can be a little bit too much of, reality kind of thrown into there, because sometimes we like to live in our own little delusional happy land. And we'll see what Sean has to say, but big up to lead the Dorset Spur. Maybe Sean will provide a similar prediction, or he might provide, something similar to what we've seen from the others. We'll find out.
He travelled to the Amex for that the other night, so hopefully he's recovered.
Yeah, hopefully he's not feeling too bitter. Maybe after that, then maybe he will probably have a bit of a, not so positive prediction, but we'll see what it's like. And we'll head on over to Spurs Talk Show.
Yes, guys, how you doing? Sean Butler here from the Spurs Talk Show. This is my Bournemouth prediction. I'm really hoping for a bounce back. I worry a little bit about Ange's post-match press conference when he says that the players are giving all they can, that the system is taxing, and playing 2 games a week with the same players because of our injuries is taking its toll. If that was the case against Brighton, then surely it will be the case against Bournemouth. And I think Bournemouth's front 4, Semenyo, Dominic Solanke specifically, I think they can, probably look at this and lick their lips if that is the system. Also, without Decky, I worry, what are we going to do? Bring in Lo Celso? Do we bring in Donnelly? It gets worse with regards to our selection issues. But that said, I still think that Tottenham should have enough against the Bournemouth team. We are at home, and I'm just hoping for a better performance. For me, the difference between Brighton and us was that they were clicking and we weren't. We didn't have any kind of continuity in our passing, and I want us to kind of simplify the process a little bit. I felt against Brighton, everyone was moving into weird positions and there was no chemistry, no ability to know and kind of read the mind of your teammate of where they're going to be. I hope against Bournemouth, we're going to get back to kind of more simplistic football and the movement. And on that basis, if that happens, even without Decky, I'm still going to go for a 2-1 win. But it's going to be difficult, and I'm not particularly confident. But as always, come on, you Spurs.
Nice one,
Love
Sean.
that.
Normally, I'm
Love
the
that.
one who loves simplistic football. I'm always about getting it launched, just getting it up to the big man, knock it down, see what we could do from there, kind of Sean Dyche
Yeah.
style. But I don't know,
Two things.
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah, just quickly, Jacko. There's two things I'd like to address off the back of that, and the first one is about Brighton, and then it's going to lead into Ange Postecoglou's words after the game about the fitness and stuff like
Right.
that. Look, Brighton, they've have as many first team players injured as we do. They play more games than what we do. Yet they looked more at it than what we did yesterday. And this, for me, you look at that squad that was put out there yesterday, a lot of the old regime coming back in there. And when you have to resort on them, you see performances like that. And that was a continuation of the Everton performance in the second half, or for a large part of that game. So we have a severe problem, and it just shows that we have more work to do to get rid of that old mentality out of the team, because it is coming back to kill us. But also, with Postecoglou sort of saying that the players were tired, this, that, and the other, I'll be honest, I think we addressed it yesterday as well,
Yeah.
but I don't buy it one bit, Jack. I think he's just out there making an excuse, protecting the players. He's got two options: go in there and throw them under the bus, or protect them. He chose to protect them on this occasion.
Yes.
I think he will, obviously do what he has to do behind the scenes. But you just got to look at it. How can they be tired? Adoji's only back from suspension. Emerson and Davies have rode the bench for the majority of the season. Højbjerg has rode the bench for the majority of the season. Even Lo Celso coming in has rode the bench for the majority of the season. And with Richarlison, he's been out for a while, this, that, and the other, and at times I've rode the bench. So there's no way that squad could be tired. I'm not having it, not buying it.
I think the only people that could possibly be tired are players like maybe Sonny or maybe Kulusevski, who I believe have basically played in every single game thus far this season. But you're absolutely right. Like, there's only a couple that maybe you could even say that about, not the whole team.
And Johnson can't be tired either.
You couldn't say that about the whole team for sure. And like always, I think sort of we want to think that the manager is speaking authentically and that he is sort of, telling, just how it is, type of answer. But I don't think that was the case with Ange here. I think he was just sort of looking for whatever reason or just sort of line of logic that might just sort of go over people's heads, or just sort of kind of just put take the pressure, take the sting, take the heat away from the situation. And you don't really have to, sometimes you just can't really read that deep into what your manager is saying. I think after a game like that, maybe he is just sort of trying to let it blow over and just sort of hope that they can respond better the next time. But I'm with you, Dave. I don't think there was that much to read into with what Ange was saying. I don't think he even believed in what he was saying.
Look, Jack, it's a classic. The dog ate my homework, isn't it?
Yeah, no, very much is, though. And excellent prediction, Sean, Spurs Talk Show. And I will hand over to Jose El Tel Cockerell over at Talk and Ball.
Good afternoon.
Big up, Jose.
Dave, good afternoon, Jack. This is Jose, aka El Tel Cockerell from Talkable. And here is my prediction for the upcoming game on New Year's Eve between Tottenham and Bournemouth. Well, last night was absolutely horrendous in major parts. Watched the presser after the game, saw Ange say that our players are tired and they're giving everything and they're tired. Well, our players can't be that fit then, because the whole season we've bowed out of a cup really early on, so we're not playing as many games as anybody else, and I can't see how the players are tired. Now, for me, the prediction and the way it goes all depends for me on changes being made to the starting lineup. Bournemouth are coming into this on superb form, but albeit the same thing was Everton were in superb form before we played them, but yet we beat them just about. Now, for me, if we make the changes that we need to make, and for me that is, we need to bring in at least one centre back of the youngsters, whether it's Dorrington or Phillips. Bring one of them in, at least one of them. If not both, just bring at least one of them in for the game against Bournemouth. Solanke adds height for their attack, and they do swing balls in to the box, so we need someone that can header the ball out. And I don't think Emerson and Davis are going to be eating Solanke in the air. So we've got to bring one, if not both of the centre-backs in. Also, in the number 10 slot, bring in Jamie Donnelly, give him a run, let him play. Cooley's suspended. I would not start Skip or Højbjerg in my midfield. I would go for Sarr as a 6, Lo Celso's the 8, Dunley's the 10. If the changes are made, then I'm going to be positive, and I'm going to go with a 3-0 victory for Tottenham. Come on, you Spurs, and a happy new year to everybody at the Irish Hotspur. Like, comment, subscribe.
Nice one, Eltel Cockerell. Nice one, Jose. I really liked that prediction. I think there was a lot of kind of, personal sort of reaction in that. And also, too, he wants big changes in the midfield. He wants to not see a Skip or a Højbjerg. He'd like to see Lo Celso, Donley, and Pop Matasar. That is a combination, of course, we have not seen yet at all this season. Do they even have the chemistry with them, maybe with each other? That could be an interesting question. But I like, the dynamic, I like the changes. He wants to see lots of changes to that 11, Dave.
Look, he's not the first one that has said it so far. I think many people are they're just getting fed up with the same old, and they want some of the newer generation to come through. So they're all starting to sing off my hymn sheet, which is absolutely brilliant. So maybe I won't get as much pushback when I suggest it going forward, Jacko. But also, I'd actually make another change that I don't think anyone has suggested yet. Perchy still obviously has time to do it. However, I'm not sure he will. But I'd take out Brennan Johnson and put Brian Hill back in, being brutally honest. Brian Hill gets a lot of stick. I've seen a lot of it banded about yesterday after the game. He done nothing when he came on, this, that, and the other. But then with Brennan Johnson, so I'll give him time to develop this, that, and the other.
Good point.
But he also does absolutely nothing. So, I mean, we're at a stage where with the two of them, famous managers have done it down the years. You dip them in, you take them out. You dip them in, you take them out until they learn for that consistency. Because they'll eventually go to manager's door and say, look, I need to play on a consistent basis. Okay, you need to do that, perform consistently then. It's that simple. And then it switches. So for me, I'd make another change. I'd go as far as doing that. What have you got to lose? We've seen the injection of energy that after the substitutions we made during the week that they brought. So do it.
I love that. Apply the same logic, to Brendan Johnson. Fair play, actually. I do agree with that. As much as I've been also kind of underwhelmed by what Hill has done recently, that's actually a fair point, actually. Like, has he done any worse than Brendan Johnson? I would say no, actually. I would say he's not done any worse than Brendan Johnson, which does actually raise my eyebrows a little bit at sort of, the context and just sort of maybe the, the free passes that maybe certain players might get versus others. And it also could just be because Brendan Johnson's only been here so long, and Brian Hill, I guess, has been here a while, but he's only had so many Spurs games in general anyway, so there's not really that much to work off of. But very fair point, though. Yeah, apply the same logic, apply the same energy. I always like that.
Yeah.
How's it going, Dave?
Well, fairness, you know what I'm about, Jack.
Sorry, accidentally got a little early there on the Perchy. We'll see what he has to say here. Big up to the Perch, and Dave, absolutely spot on there. We'll see what the Perchy has to say. Maybe he did have your point, and we'll find out. Maybe he did have the same point. Let's see. Big up to the Perchy, Football Heritage TV here.
Even Jack, this is the Perch here. How are we doing, guys? Prediction time. Awful game the other day against Brighton. We were awful, absolutely awful. But now we move on to Bournemouth. New Year's Eve. Celebrations are flying. But I'm worried. A lot of players out. Kulu now suspended. We've got to have a word about our discipline. But guys, I'm going to say it's going to be Tottenham Hotspur 2, Bournemouth 2. I think we'll get a draw. If we can win the game, it'll be absolutely brilliant. Bournemouth are in flying form. Solanke's scoring loads and loads of goals. I'm going draw, but I would love a win. I think we can still win this game. I'm going 2-2. Happy New Year to all of your followers. And guys, as I always say, smash the like button and subscribe to these incredible people. Peace
nice
out.
One, Perchy. Bye. Really classy as always, sir. And Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to the Football Heritage TV. Happy New Year to all the Spurs fans out there. It's going to be a New Year's Eve game, where we, hopefully can bounce back and carry on a win into the new year and forget about that Brighton. Because I must say, if we do get something like a 3-1 win or like maybe something that Lee had predicted, I'd say like as much as the Brighton game was embarrassing and not the result that we wanted, probably, a good way to sort of just wipe your hands clean of the previous, sort of game if we get a convincing win.
Look, I'm just hoping it's one of them sort of games. You look at Villa, they struggled the day after Christmas. Arsenal struggled against West Ham. Even Liverpool laboured to a win against Burnley, right? So I'm just hoping that it's one of them. Maybe they all had a lot of turkey and ham and stuff and shit like that. And it's now ran out of their system and they're ready to get rocking again. But look, I do think maybe Perchy and there was someone else that predicted a draw earlier on are onto something, because Spurs haven't won any of their last 5 games right before New Year's Day over the last 5 years. Their last game heading in, I think they've drawn 4 of them or drawn all 5 of them. So they could be onto something. However, my heart won't let me do it, Jack. I'm going Tottenham to sneak it tomorrow.
What would be your score prediction, Dave, if you were to give one?
I'm going to go 3-2 Tottenham.
I'm feeling like Bournemouth could very much score a few goals or a couple of goals this game. I'm feeling like I could see a 4-3, something like that, like it was sort of last game, or last season, something like last season. I could also see something like Lee, where maybe, Bournemouth causes some problems, maybe they have some scares and some moments, but there's just, I have this real feeling and this real trust in the players that they will come in with a lot more energy and a lot more sort of desire and hunger to really set things straight and set things right, which sort of then means that we can just sort of, with momentum and energy, carry ourselves to something like a 3-1 win or a 2-0 win or something on that sort of manner. But keeping a clean sheet, I must be honest, that would be pretty impressive against a team like Bournemouth right now. So I'll stick with a 3-1. I think I'm going to go with what Lee had to say, a nice 3-1, and we can forget about the Brighton result afterwards. But everybody, smash that like button for us, please. Let us know in the comments what your favorite prediction was, what your prediction is ahead of this game. And Dave, sign off for people.
As always, come on, you Spurs. Despite some people questioning Ange, in Ange we trust here at the Irish Hotspur. And the best motto that everyone should live their life by: we never stop.
Well done.
Let's go.
Let's go. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you for the New Year's Eve game.
New Year's.